If the mindset isn't ready to take action and they don't have a relentless mindset, it doesn't really matter what we say. Because if the mind isn't right, the actions won't follow. I'm speaking to a group of agents this week, and I was sitting down writing down notes about the main topics that I wanted to cover. And the subject is prospecting in new times. What does that really mean? And so I kind of have the foundation of what I want to share with the group of agents. As I'm writing down my notes, I was just thinking this is what worked for me, and this is what is the foundation of my business. And it may or may not be for you. It may resonate with you, it may not. But even before all of that, as I'm writing down the notes, I'm thinking, if the person who's listening, if the mindset isn't ready to take action, or if they're not committed to the outcome and they don't have a relentless mindset, it doesn't really matter what we say. Because if the mind isn't right, the actions won't follow. So I'm really excited to go a little bit deeper before about what I do. What is the foundation of my business? Where did my success come from? Because if you're not ready for it, it doesn't matter what I do, they do, he does, she does, you're not going to do anything with it. So it also always starts the mindset. So this is going to go on a deeper level, and I'm really excited to come at this angle. So we'll see how it plays out. The reason why I wanted to jump on this morning was I've been shuttling my son around to basketball since he was 5 years old. And those that have followed my journey have seen this firsthand. He's played club basketball, sometimes on two teams at once for the last 10 years. It's been our life, and it's been a lot of fun. And through that, we've had many and many of conversations on mindset. I truly believe a piece of that has stuck with him, and that's why I believe he's so successful. In high school, he joined the water polo team. He's never swam. I mean, he did junior lifeguard, so he was a swimmer, only during the summertime though, because he had to, not because he wanted to. But he joined the water polo team, and he did quite well. And then if you want to stay on the water polo team next year, you have to join the swim team. So now he's on the swim team, and he made JV, and he's actually a really good freestyle swimmer for someone that has 0 lessons. Another example might be high jump. He won all city high jump in middle school. He cleared 5.4. He got stuck at 5.6, but that happened a week before the actual event at our local high school around the corner. And he competed with kids that have been in club track since day one, and he beat them all. He got first place. And again, I do believe, by no means, I'm not taking the credit, but I do believe our conversations about mindset, if you think you can or you think you can't, you're probably right. So with that being said, as my daughter prepares for high school, she wants to play a sport. And when you play a sport, it allows you to not have to do PE, physical education. So she picked tennis, and she also plays golf. She's pretty good at both, but just never really committed to either one of them. It was more for fun, which all of this is for fun, but it was more as a leisure because her friends were doing it, where I've been asking, let's hone in on one and let's get lessons and you and I practice and let's go out. And so tennis is her sport now, and we're on our way to our second tournament. So we went to hit some balls this morning because she and I were lying in bed and in her room, and I was listening to my podcast, taking down notes, preparing for my speaking engagement this week. And she was on, her phone. And I was saying, Dad is preparing notes for a conference that I'm going to speak at in front of 150 agents. And I was telling her that what I do in business is irrelevant to everyone in the audience if they're not ready to hear it. Full circled back around to it starts with mindset. And because the moment you hit some adversity, or the moment someone agent tries to implement what I did, if they hit a question or a roadblock, it's going to derail them. And unless they see what the outcome is to be and why they're working towards this goal, they'll fight through the adversity. But for most people, it's a challenge, and then they have to actually put in a little bit of research, a little bit of work, maybe a little bit of networking, and maybe they're not ready to do that. And so I was telling that the metaphor was through tennis, that if you're not ready to compete, you're not ready to put in the work, and you're not going out to have fun, none of this matters. You're just not going to get better if you don't want to. And so again, I was just trying to let her know that what we're about to go do is we're going to go practice. in preparation for your tournament this afternoon. So whatever the outcome is, if your serve isn't going in, if your ground strokes don't feel good, you can't let that bother you. You can't let it derail you from what it is you're striving for. This is practice, like Allen Iverson, this is practice. We're just putting in the work. Because she has this tendency, like all of us, that if you start playing bad, it sets the tone of that moment, your mood. And it's a downward spiral that gets bigger and bigger. And unless you can recognize it and put a stop to it, she might lose, 6-love, 6-love. The message really is here that whatever it is that we're striving to do or what we want to do, it always starts with up here. It always starts in the mind. So when you do run into adversity or challenges, it's not a big deal. You just step right over it or drive over the speed bump and you keep going because you're so focused on the journey and the outcome and the results that your commitment will outweigh any obstacles that are thrown at you. Hard to get, hard to understand. And I was telling Eames that I still don't have this figured out, but I will say I became a student of this within the last 10 years. So I know these conversations that I'm having with you now as a 13-year-old, if you can work on this and just, I'm not saying get it, but work on it, you're gonna be very, very deadly in the years to come. Because whatever you want to do and get out of life, it has to start here and you have to believe it and you have to get crystal clear on what it is, and then you just execute the plan. And just know it's not going to be an easy path. And also just know that most people will quit and throw in the towel and come up with 1,000 excuses of why they can't. Not us. That's not even an option. We're just going to keep moving and keep the pedal down and focus on the outcome. Because we know what it's going to do for us. We know why we're doing it. That's what it's all about.
Thank you for watching today's video. I hope you found this information helpful. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to drop them below. And don't forget to hit the like and subscribe for more great content.